Okay, hello everybody. I'm so sorry that we are late. Council has been running, ran over on various discussions. So let me immediately hand over to Seb just to talk through, and then we'll go to Q&A. And Seb will just do a quick introduction and a couple of decisions that we've made. We've also got Rune on the call, who will also update on the Russian task force and their recommendations, which were also agreed by council. So,
Jackie, thank you. And thank you all for being online. Sorry for the slight delay, but we've had two meaty days of discussion. And I thought I would just, by way of a brief, very brief scene setter, just talk about the two key decisions that were taken today. But I just also wanted briefly to just share with you what I actually said to the council in my opening remarks. And I don't think any of you will be surprised when the theme of my words to council were really around risk. The appalling scenes that have escalated by the hour from the Russian invasion of Ukraine clearly add a massive tier of risk, not just to those actors or those actors in that space, but also right across our sport. And I think you could probably say that for most other elements. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about the challenges that we have this year. We have a great opportunity to showcase the sport on 5 World Championship occasions. We've come out of a very successful race walk team championships in Oman just a few days ago. But nor should we sort of gloss over the fact that those 5 events are challenging events. And if you look at the next 2 years, then we have 10 events. I smiled with my teams and I said, well, 1 down, 4 to go. But actually it's 1 down, 9 to go if you look at what we're having to deliver over the course of the 2 years because of the concertinaing of the diary, the calendar, off the back of the Tokyo delays. I wanted also to talk a little bit about COVID because COVID is still with us, and for many of our council members, for federations and certainly our area associations, there are still considerable challenges posed by COVID, and of course China is one of them because we talk about our WAS events. 3 of our WAS events between November of this year and May of next year take place in China. And if I add to that 2 Diamond Leagues and a Continental Tour gold label event, you can see that those 2 are also challenging. Oregon, we know and we hope that they will be a great championships in a market that's really important to us, but vaccines and visas are still a big issue. And I just sort of finished off by a broader point about climate change. I raised it in the Olympic Summit just before Christmas, but I think federations like ours that have a large component in their programs that relate to endurance events are going to have to seriously think about the world as it is, because as I pointed out in Oregon last year, I was there for the US trials. The temperatures rose to the mid to late 40s at one point. Even the 10,000 meters was delayed and reformatted. And had we had the Olympic Games in Paris this time, or at the same time last year as they would be in 24, then the temperatures there would have been in the mid 40s. So further discussion will be needed about how maybe we have to even look at separating our endurance events from some of our summer programs. That's for another day. But the theme was risk. Let me go on to move very quickly to the 2 key decisions that we took today. And they were really around the Belarus Federation and also our international events. World Athletics Council agreed to apply sanctions on the Belarus Athletics Federation, whilst Russia's war on Ukraine, aided and abetted by Belarus, continues. These sanctions include no hosting of any international or European athletics events, which of course includes World Athletics Series, one-day meetings and other international competitions. No representation at Congress or in decisions which require congressional votes. No accreditation to attend any World Athletics or WAS events, including the World Indoor Championships in Belgrade in a week or so's time, and the World Athletics Championships in Oregon 22, and of course our World Under-20 Championships in Calais. No involvement of federation personnel in any official World Athletics development or professional programs, and these sanctions will take immediate effect and continue for the foreseeable future. On our one-day meetings and our tours, we discussed the exclusion of ANA and Belarusian athletes from their meetings ahead of their events beginning in the next couple of months. These meetings are all aware of the decisions that World Athletics Council made on the 1st of March and the decisions made today. And those organizations have meetings pending, Diamond League General Assembly next week in Belgrade, where that will be addressed. As I said, these events, these meetings are all aware of the decisions and the direction of travel that the World Athletics Council made on March the 1st and the decisions that we made today. The second element was the regular update we have from the Russian task force. I'm delighted that Rune Andersson, the chair of that task force, who reported to us this afternoon, is online, and I'm going to throw to him to take you through the narrative and the recommendations which were endorsed by the Council.
Thank you, Seb. So in light of the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the Council's decision to exclude Russian athletes from the World Athletics events, the task force has carefully considered the separate question of whether it would be appropriate for it to continue its work with RUSAF regarding the reinstatement process, and whether it will in future be able to effectively continue that work. I reported today to Council that the view of the task force is that it should continue with its mandate. The task force is concerned that without its work and without the work of the international experts, there is a significant risk that some or all of the progress may be lost and backsliding might occur. If that was to happen, the cultural change that RUSAF has been cultivating would be undermined. Ultimately, it would be detrimental to the interests of clean Russian athletes, the athletes they compete against, and the integrity of future international competitions. The task force will therefore continue to work with the international experts to monitor and guide RUSAF. There might be consequences of the invasion, for example, travel restrictions that impact the international experts. In due course, the task force will identify whether the consequences of the Russian invasion require it to change its focus or approach, or has other implications. As for an update on the activities in the past 4 months, RUSAF has continued to work to meet the milestones and KPIs set out in the reinstatement plan and made good progress. While RUSAF is not yet ready for reinstatement, the task force will meet with RUSAF to discuss the progress and continue to draft post-reinstatement criteria, which will ensure no backsliding after reinstatement. The World Athletics Council agreed with the task force and decided that the task force continue to monitor and guide RUSAF and to review the follow-up of the reinstatement plan.
Thank you, Rune. Right, we're also going to go straight through to Q&A. I've got a couple that have come through, so let me start with those. Bradley, first, your question. Was there any thought to allowing Russian athletes to compete as neutral athletes so as not to punish innocent athletes whose only crime was being born under a Russian flag? That's from Bradley from Around the Ring. Seb?
Yeah. No, actually, we were very clear about that. And I think that the council was unanimous about the view that it would be inconceivable to have athletes from the Ukraine being excluded for very obvious reasons, unable to compete, train in an environment that is beyond compare, and have the athletes from two aggressor nations being given the full panoply. So look, these are not easy decisions. I made the point last week that none of us on the council undertook this decision lightly. None of us came in the sport to at the outset prevent athletes from competing, but this is of such a different scale and such a challenge, and the fact that sport is not the only element here that is carrying the burden. In the past, I've railed against sport being used singularly as a tool, but here the answer is very clear that everybody is now doing what they can to stand shoulder to shoulder, and sport needs to do that.
Thanks, Bradley. Thanks, Seb. The next one's from James from AP. And James, thank you for your sort of supplementary note. We're really not going to answer any questions about Chelsea and World Athletics press conference, but maybe there is another opportunity another time. But the Chelsea press office will direct all of that. But the question you did ask here, James, is it's often said that sport and politics shouldn't mix, but that seems wholly inaccurate following recent events. Are you uncomfortable with the role sport appears to have played in Russian soft power over the last decade or so? And following that, I know you're, then we come to Chelsea. We're going to do that. It's about uncomfortable about soft power.
Look, I've always believed, and I continue to believe, that under the right circumstances, sport is one of the deftest of soft powers. And, history has shown, certainly in the last 80 to 100 years, that time and time again, it has acted in exactly that way, sometimes privately and sometimes publicly. And I've been privileged to see it working in both those environments. The issue for us is a very clear one, and that is that we need to make sure that we do what we've done, and we did it in a way around 2015 that was very clear. The reason the Russian Federation was suspended was for an egregious attack on the integrity of our sport with state-sponsored doping that was reputationally damaging and still having an impact, less than it was, but still having an impact today. So no. The issue for us was that we gripped that situation back in 2015, and the sport was stronger for it.
Thanks, Seb. Mark, from L'Equipe, 2 questions. Any news about the new walking event at the Paris Olympic Games? And he'd like to know if Sergei Bubka attended the council meeting.
Sergei Bubka did attend the council meeting. He attended both days. He did have to excuse himself at various points because, of course, he has the responsibility given to him by the IOC for coordinating the humanitarian program. He brought us all up to speed with what he was doing, and we are able to coordinate because we will also, through World Athletics, be structuring a fund to help maintain Ukrainian athletes in training, given the intolerably difficult circumstances that they confront, either within Ukraine or even in maintaining a semblance of training programs outside of the country. And the first part of that question?
Any news about the new walking event in Paris? Not yet.
No, I think that is the answer, Mark, not yet.
But we are still working with them.
Yeah.
Also, just so you know, Sergey was also president of the executive board. So
Yes, he was. Sorry.
so-
Yeah, he was at the executive board, and I did speak to him. I've spoken to him since the invasion, once, even twice a day.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. I'm looking to see if there's any little hands waving with my glasses on. Any little hands? No, are we all comfortable with everything? Okay, I can see that, Mike. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, just so you know, Mike, your camera is on, unlike everybody else, apart from Bradley. No, Robert, we can see Robert. And any other questions for Rune before he has to leave? Nope. Okay, so we will issue a statement, hopefully quite soon, with the Russian task force paper, plus the decisions that were made around the Belarus Federation. Yep, so expect that shortly. Thank you. We did make other decisions, just so you know, over the last 2 days of council. We just felt that would cover off the two most important. And then the rest we will roll up into a press statement over the next day or two. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Hopefully see some of you in Belgrade.